Hey guys, what's going on? This is Fred2266 here. And yep, as you can tell by the title, today I'll be reading one of the most famous, loved fan fictions in Brony history, Dashie by Rob Cakran53. Um, I've only read the story once. I've listened to the readings by Ace Ka and Mike the Microphone. I cried both times. I cried when I read it. I cried 3 times altogether. One of only 3 fan fictions to make me cry. So, I know it's done to death. Everyone's read this. Everyone's done audio readings of it. But you know, I'm going to be added to the list. I'm proud to join the club. I'm about to join the club, people. If you don't like that, well, I'm sorry. So, technically, I made that video asking you guys to vote on which fanfiction you think I'd be reading today, and 2 people were correct in their votes. Calvin said Dashie is one of his picks. He picked like 8 stories, but still, he was right. And Elwolf was right, because he said one of his votes was anything not on this list. So it's kind of cheating, but it counts. He was right. So, yes. If any of you expected a story that is a little less underrated, no. You got Dashie, and you better like it. It's almost 13,000 words. If you never read it before, I don't know what you've been doing, but okay. We're gonna read Dashie by Rob Cakran53. So here we go. I hope to get a lot of viewers from this. That's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I love the story, but you know, it might get me on the next level, you know? Hopefully. So, Dashie, written by Rob Cakran53. I live my life, one day at a time. A good portion of those days are uneventful, always falling in the same routine. I wake up, I walk to work, walk home, then bum around until I go to bed. Sometimes I'll hang with my few friends, other times I'll just play video games or watch My Little Pony. Friendship is magic. Every so often, something new and interesting happens. I meet an old friend, I find $1 on the ground, or I get chased by a stray dog. Living in a dying city isn't very fun or interesting. This city was once full of life and color, but now most of the houses are sagging, the businesses sit empty or abandoned, and several open fields lay barren of the once great factories that helped drive the economy. I had never seen the city during those times in person, but I have seen pictures. My mother and father lived happy, and they could only wish the same for me growing up. Sadly, I cannot say I achieved that wish of theirs. I've fallen on the same dull routine. Wake, work, sleep, repeat. I do have some moments of bliss, but the daily struggles I go through outweigh the small moments of joy I have. My Little Pony has helped, but it's still just another thing to get my hopes up on. Every time I see the show, or one of the ponies on a fan site, I recoil a bit at the bright colors, the joyful faces of the ponies, and the peaceful scenery of their world. It's so hard to look at that beautiful world, having it so close to my grasp. I reach out to touch its warm colors and bright, smiling faces of the ponies, only to be stopped by my computer screen. I snap back to reality. It gets to the point where I will simply shut down my computer and walk away. I do that a lot, especially after my parents' death. I go for a walk. When I feel sad, I walk. When I feel tired, I walk. When I feel like walking, I walk. Walking has become my second life in a sense. I spend at least half my day outside, along the crumbling sidewalks in decaying suburbs. I've seen people come and go. I've seen buildings torn down, burned up, or have so much graffiti on its walls that its original color is unrecognizable. I very rarely pass any people on my strolls. Most people don't like to look at their once beautiful city, their homes or former businesses. I don't blame them. In fact, I envy them. They saw this place with their own 2 eyes, seeing the buildings still standing tall and proud, the lawns freshly cut, the paved roads and sidewalks still intact. The only thing I've ever seen that even comes close is my mother's paintings, each of them colorful scenes of this concrete world. She started painting once everything crumbled beneath her feet, making the sad scenery before her look beautiful. Her masterpiece is of an open field that yielded a parking garage. Over it, she drew an amazing rainbow, my favorite picture. I guess that's why I like Rainbow Dash the most out of all the other ponies. Her colors, the amazing sonic rainbow, all remind me of that picture. There have been times I wished I had my own Rainbow Dash, or more realistically, a plushie of her to curl up in bed with. I made an old Simba into a temporary replacement, until I'm able to save enough money for one. It helps in a way, like holding it close will heal my wounds, my pain and my sorrow. My feet, after countless hours of walking in my old shoes, pulsate under the sheet, and all the while I hold that stuffed animal harder than a mother protecting her child. It's the only thing I can look at and feel true joy, even if it isn't physically the Rainbow Dash I want. It will have to do. Today, as usual, I walked to work. It was the same shit, just a different day. Watching the same people enter the store, grab their merchandise and pay, then walk out with bags in tow. My shift ended after several hours of this. I clocked out and started walking home. I decided to use a different route this time, for a change in pace, a little something different from the normal path I walk. This part of town was hit the worst. Only a few houses still stand, and none of them occupied. It truly is a sad sight to see. Then again, it's really the only sight I see. The only sight I'll ever see. Or so I thought. I was stopped by something unusual, a stray cardboard box in the middle of the sidewalk. Now, living in this kind of area, I see trash all the time. Boxes, McDonald's cups, and plastic bags litter the streets and empty fields, but rarely will I see a cardboard box that isn't crushed in one way or another. I noticed this particular box because it happened to be in my way. During my younger years, I tried to do what I could for the community. I pick up trash when I saw it, or I attempt to help my neighbors. It is a losing battle nowadays. I've given up hope on cleaning this city, much less my neighborhood. Now I'll just pass the trash by, letting it blow away in the breeze or sit there and decompose. I let what's left of the people do their own things. Since most of them don't care about anyone other than themselves, why should I be any different? I walked past the box, barely giving it a glance. Nothing about it caught my attention right away. I continued on, my home not far away. Upon arriving, I sat down and played some games, attempting to push the box out of my mind. I had little luck, as the box somehow managed to push its way back in. Time crept on by, and I soon found myself wanting to go for another walk. I left the house and started down my usual route when I stopped. What was it about that box that made it stick out of my mind? I turned around, starting down the path I had taken to get home, the path that I only walk once in a blue moon. Curiosity got the best of me, and I wanted some closure. Within minutes I found it, still sitting there, sad and alone among the broken concrete and overgrown grass. It didn't move. It didn't stand out as if it were special. It was an ordinary, brown cardboard box. I don't want to say I came out here for nothing, so I walked closer to it. As I drew closer, however, I began to notice something inside. It was brightly colored, multiple colors in fact. It was quite small, maybe the size of a few-month-old Labrador puppy. I stopped beside the box and looked down at the colorful blob inside. This is where I currently stand, looking into a box at a small something. Now I know exactly what it is, but my brain isn't allowing me to fully realize it yet. At first I want to say it's simply a toy, left to die along with all the other things in this block, but then I saw it breathing. In fact, it appears to be sleeping. My hands are sweating, my breathing erratic, and I'm blinking my eyes trying to refresh my vision. Each time this image stays the same. Inside, it's a sleeping filly. Rainbow Dash. I kneel down, trying to get a closer look into the box. I can't believe what I'm seeing. There's not a physical, mental, or extraterrestrial way how this could be here. How she could be here, in my gloomy, dark, and horrid world. I examine the box further. On the side, in simple pen, says, "Give to good home." The first thought that runs through my mind, besides the initial Rainbow Dash in a box, is, who would give up a Philly Rainbow Dash? My mind is now a mess of questions. How did she get here? Why is she here? Why is she a filly? Her flank is even bare enough for a cutie mark, meaning she is indeed a filly. As I stand to stretch my tired legs, I accidentally bump the side of the box with my foot, and the inevitable occurs. She wakes up. She looks around, rubbing her face with a foreleg, trying to wake herself up. At first, all she sees are the brown walls of the box, but then she looks up to me. Those large black eyes, along with the rose-colored rim around them, drive my heart to, as the meme goes, explode. Twice. The sheer cuteness of it all drives me to kneel back down. I can't hold back a smile. I haven't smiled like this in years, since the last time me and my parents went out to the only remaining park in the area. Her eyes continue to stare at me. I stare back. I don't know what to say or what to do, but I must start somewhere. "Hi there." I speak, but she doesn't respond. What are you doing out here?" She looks around, then back to me. The more I study her, the more I realize she really is young. Years younger than her Philly appearance in episode 23. She might not even be able to talk yet. That is, if she even can talk in my world. The fact that she's even existing right now has me reeling in confusion. I return my attention back to her and notice a small shiver of her body. Fall season is here, and it can get pretty cold, especially around mid-September. I'm not sure how to exactly tackle this situation. Do I take her home? Do I call someone? Who would I even call? I'm a closet bronies, so none of my friends know about my love of the show. I can't take her to a shelter. That's a stupid thought in the first place. Not only would it be a horrible sight, she might be taken off to some lab experimented on or something that's just as equally horrible. I've only one choice. She shakes once more as the cool air reaches her coat. Her wings ruffle as she lays back down and huddles her legs closer to her body to keep warm. That's the final straw. I can't take it anymore. I take off my own jacket and reach down to pick her up. I get the initial response I expected. Fear. She begins to squirm around, unsure what I'm doing to her. She can't fly yet, but she still flutters her wings as in praying for a miracle to happen that she does magically take flight. I set her into my jacket, wrap her up so that her head is sticking out, and hold her in my arm. She continues to squirm, but then my body heat begins to finally seep through the thin jacket, and she settles down. It's all right. Let's get you somewhere warmer, huh? I smile again at her. She looks up to me with so much confusion in her eyes as she tries to process what is happening. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. It's getting late. You'll freeze out here. I think she understands me, for after I say those words, her eyes return to their normal size, and she snuggles herself more comfortably inside my jacket. She squirms a little, trying to get into a more comfortable position. I can feel her hooves and wings poking me as she shifts. Then, to top it off, she rests her chin onto my arm and lets out a deep sigh, closing her eyes to drift off to sleep. My heart explodes for the third time. The entire walk back, I kept my eye out for other people who could walk past me. I don't want anyone else to see her. I have no way of knowing how they would react. As usual, though, I don't see a single person. It's midnight by the time I get home. Fortunately for us both, I turn on my porch light, otherwise I might have passed it. Being one of the few occupied homes on the block means a lot of darkness. The city even stopped running power to streetlights, so that made it all the more difficult. I glanced down at the filly, who continued to sleep in the jacket as I carried her. She was no longer shivering, and felt quite warm. I walk up to my porch, careful not to make too much noise as I get my keys out, unlock the 2 deadbolts, the master lock, and finally the doorknob, and open my door. It's dark inside due to me leaving while it was still light out. With a flick of a switch, the single bulb in my hallway comes to life, shedding some light into the living room. Most of the furnishings are my parents'. Then again, so is the house. I became the owner of it after their passing, and have done what I can to keep it that way. Still with the Philly Rainbow Dash in my arm, I walk into the living room. As I pass my family portrait, I greet with a "Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad." I know they aren't there, but knowing that they love me and that I love them helps me stay sane and to keep me going in my miserable life. As I enter the living room, I could feel stirring in my arm. She had woken up, most likely when I turned on the light, and now is getting antsy. With no idea what to do or how to tackle this situation, I set her down on the couch. Immediately, she jumps out of the jacket and looks around, already investigating her surroundings. I continue to watch her as she explores the couch, then continues up to the coffee table. What are you doing here in my world? I didn't mean to ask that out loud, but it just sort of happens every now and then. Only seeing my few friends once in a great while, I find myself talking to, well, myself a lot. I don't own a pet because that just means more money to dish out, and I'm already struggling as it is. For my question, the only response is another blank look on her face. That tells me she has no clue either. Then again, what else should I expect from a filly that can't even talk yet? Are you lost? The moment that word left my mouth, her ears fell, and she looks to the ground. Oh. The realization strikes that she has no clue what's going on, where she is, who I am, or anything else. She's beyond the word lost. She's misplaced. Well, until something happens, I guess you can stay with me. I see how she lifts her head up, ears starting to erect once again. It looks at me with worry. My words don't sound that encouraging, so I throw on a smile as I speak. Don't worry. I'm sure whatever brought you here will fix itself within time. We just gotta wait. Is that alright? I'm not sure why I asked that, but it seems to do the trick. Her ears perk up and she smiles. The next few hours are spent giving her the grand tour of my house. Nothing amazing to see, and I avoid taking her to the bathroom out of fear that the large amount of dirty clothes would swallow her up. Afterwards, I give her something to eat. I bring up small carrots, and amazingly I discover she has some teeth. Since she is still a filly, I wasn't sure if she could eat solid foods such as carrots yet. Then again, she is from a cartoon, so I don't know what is correct for her anyway.